Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How are you all doing today? I've been better. As you can see by the title, there's a lot of money being talked about in this video today. Yes, $7,000 is on the line, and it's probably going to lead to a lawsuit. We're going to talk about it now. Daze with Jordan the Lion and you all. It begins right now. So, as many of you may know, about 3 years ago, I was able to purchase a home. I decided to quit being a renter and decided to kind of invest my money in something that if I ever decided to sell it, I would be able to do that. And so I did end up becoming a homeowner, and the home that I ended up purchasing had solar panels on it, which was really great because, you know, nowadays they're wanting everybody to consider solar panels. It saves a lot of money on your energy bill. It could be a lot of money up front, but in the end, it's, you know, usually a really good bargain. So I have about 36 solar panels on my house. And basically when I moved in, I just called the energy company, told them how many I had. They linked it all up, and they were able to offset what my solar creates and put it towards my energy bill, to where when I first moved in, I mean, I really have only been paying like $100 or $150 a month usually for an energy bill. Now that's considering that I leave my air conditioner on pretty much all the time because I want my house to always be the same temperature, because I have artwork, I have guitars, I have a lot of things that I really need to be climate controlled. And so that's always been one of the plus sides to being a traveling vlogger, is that I can just leave the air temperature set, and I know that with solar panels I'm not going to be charged up the wazoo. Until this month, when I got the bill from the energy company. My bill for my energy company, like I said, it can be anywhere from $20 to, I think maybe the highest it's ever been was $180. This month it was $500, and I couldn't believe it. So I immediately thought this was some sort of mistake, and I called the energy company, and they started looking through all of my information, and they said, well, actually what's happening, I can see it on our end, is that your solar panels aren't generating enough to cover your energy. And I said, how's that possible? This month is the highest I've ever had, and I literally was gone like 3 weeks out of the month. Katie was gone too. She was traveling with me. So, you know, we were probably using less than we normally do. And so the guy on the other end was able to look, and he said, I can see here that you're using about 23,000 to 25,000 volts last month, or however they do that. And he said, and you're producing 7. And I said, that's crazy. He said, yeah, you really have to look into this. He said, you're gonna have a fight on your hands. But he said, somewhere either your solar panel company or your installer did something wrong, but you need to get it settled out right now because you're being way overcharged. And he looked and he said, I'm telling you, overcharged as in you should be paying close to nothing per month. He said, I mean, almost nothing. He said, you shouldn't even be having $150 bills. So I said, what do I do? He said, you're going to have a fight, but you're going to have to call the installer and have them come out and look, or find your paperwork or whatever. So that's what I started doing. Found my paperwork. The solar panels were actually installed before I purchased the home, but they were installed 7 years ago and had a 10-year warranty on the installation and everything. So as I looked up and called the phone number, nobody answered. It was a dead phone number. And when I looked up the company that installed it, they are no longer in business. And so I called my accountant, who also happens to be my best friend and is much better at adulting than I am. And he looked into it and he said, apparently during the pandemic, a lot of installers filed bankruptcy and went out of business. So that creates a problem. Who covers your warranty when your installer is no longer in business? Well, you would think that it falls onto your company that manufactures the solar panels. So at any rate, I have to basically stop the hemorrhaging here. Otherwise, I'm going to be paying $500 every month, and I have solar panels that are doing nothing So I called got a little bug problem here, but I went ahead and called a solar repair. They came out and they said, well, first over the phone, they said, if you can log in to your account with the solar company. I said, I didn't even know there is an account. He said, oh yeah, you should be able to be on their app and you should be able to look and see what all of your panels are doing, what they're generating, everything. I said, nobody ever told me that. I had no idea. So then I find the app and I try to get into it, and apparently you can't get into it without the installer. The installer has to have a special link that they send you or whatever, or has to set it up for you to even create an account. So I couldn't even create an account to see any of the information. So I called the repair guy again and I said, I can't even get that far. So he ends up being able to get a link for me, sends it to me so that I can create an account. And he said, if you can get into your account and I can look and see what's going on with, their app and everything, that'll save me a lot of time when I come out there to look around. And so I start to create this profile and everything, and I ran into a problem that I ran into years ago with QuickBooks. They don't support Android. So when I try to create an account and it goes to the finalization process, I just got a wheel spinning for eternity. And no matter how many times I would delete the app and reinstall the app, change the password, nothing would make it go through. So then I called my friend and my accountant and I said, can you please use my password to log in and see if it's an Apple versus Android issue? And of course it was. So he says, yeah, I can see everything right here. So I call the installer and I say, apparently if you have Android, which I have, I can't get into it, but we can get into it now because it's all set up and everything. So he comes out and he looks around and he says, I'm gonna have to come back. He said, I think you have a bad inverter. He said that, I hate to tell you, but with the company that, there's like kind of two major companies that do solar. He said the one that they chose for your house is the lesser better of the two. He said we have more problems, but he said a lot of the things end up happening under warranty and you have to fight them to get them to to cough up the dough or to replace it, but eventually they do. He said, so I said, so basically I feel like they're just trying to avoid a class action lawsuit. It sounded like to me. And so he starts looking into it and everything. He comes out there and he says, yeah, you have a bad inverter, but I think I'm gonna have to get up there and look around a little bit more because the inverter's not, not registering much of anything. So then he comes back and looks again and he says, the installer installed your stuff wrong, which he installed underpowered cables, wires, to your solar panels, which have burned out all the cabling up there. Then he didn't secure it for the proper way weather-wise, so it's been water damaged. And he said because those were all water damaged, the solar company will now not pay for your inverter because the inverter was damaged because it wasn't installed properly. So this all falls back on, I do have a 10-year warranty. I'm 7 years in, and I have an installer that is out of business and a solar company that does not want to cover any of this, and a solar repair company that wants to charge me $250 for the inspection, or I can put it towards the repair, which is $7,128. So that is where the problem comes in here. I have to pay that money in order to get my solar panels going. And I feel like, where do you go from there? It's hard. You really can't, I mean, just from the very beginning, when I called the energy company, they were saying, hey, you need to call and fight with the installer because just what you've been overcharged the last couple months, you are due that money. Like you should be going after them for that money. But now we're way past them just reimbursing me for a couple $100 for a couple of months where the solar panels aren't working. Now we're talking $7,100 in repairs plus all that. So that now takes it to where it would be pretty much out of small claims court, but I'm just not really sure what to do. First time homeowner, this is solar's a new technology. Didn't know really what I was getting into, but yeah, what do you do? I thought this would be a perfect vlog to get people's opinions, people that have been through this before, and a lot of comments I think can come out of this. And people that are considering doing solar, this is something to take into consideration. I don't want to mention the name of the company that I have my solar panels with because I don't know like I said, I don't know if a lawsuit's going to have to come out of this, but I mean, I can't see that having a warranty and having proof that it was installed improperly, I feel like somebody should be on the hook for this. So unfortunately, your old pal Jordan is going to have to pay that money just in the meantime. But that also, in a weird way, kind of worries me, because I'm like, hey, what if I eventually, you know, take this to court and they're like, well, you had to contact the installer or whatever. And I go, I couldn't find the installer. And like, well, they had to have a chance to make it right. I don't know what'll happen, but I do know that every single day that I don't pay and have all those cables and everything replaced and the inverter box replaced, which the inverter alone, I believe, from what I read online, was like $3,000. So they're going to have to come out and install that stuff. Either way, every day that I don't pay for it, I'm getting charged for the electricity, whether I'm home or I'm not home. So yeah, something to take into consideration when you are going to have a home with solar panels. Make sure that what we found out was that there's now like kind of an insurance that you can buy that will counter this. If your installer goes out of business, you'll have an insurance policy that will cover this. But hey, how did I know? I guess I just should have known. You know, something has to go wrong at some point with that kind of stuff. But definitely just didn't think when I bought the house and they were only 4 years old that it would be a problem. But when you have somebody install it improperly and incorrectly, this is what it can lead to. So not everybody has $7,000 at their disposal to just pay for something like this, or roof repair or whatever. So, you know, I feel like it's important to hold accountable the people that made the mistake. So leave your comments below what you think about this. What should I do? Where should I go from here? What do I do? Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Your old pal Jordan the Lion says goodbye.